All right, Nathan. I think we should do an episode on James Earl Jones, his
The late
filmography.
great.
Yeah, exactly. Think of some films, we can talk about.
I've seen a few. I've seen
Okay.
live action Lion King, Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I saw Coming to America on Amazon Prime.
What do you mean Coming to America? Like
the sequel? Yeah, he dies. It's like really emotional. Remember?
No, I remember that piece of shit movie. Oh, I'm talking about the good ones, like the original Lion King, Coming to America, the original one. Fucking Star Wars, not the Obi-Wan show, but the original Star Wars trilogy. Nathan, we're gonna have to watch some films.
Welcome back to the Real Talk Podcast, episode 156. I'm your host, Nathan, and I'm joined by the man himself, Matthew Neves, to my left.
Thank you.
And today we are going to be discussing the amazing career of James Earl Jones.
Yeah, we're talking about him because on September 9th he passed away with a great legacy of amazing films that we all remember and love.
Yeah.
And we figured we'd do an actor showcase for him because I feel like there's a lot to talk about. Not only his film work, his theater work, but just like his attitude as a person, which was amazing. But yeah, I mean, like, obviously everyone knows him as the voice of Darth Vader, a powerful voice.
One of the most powerful voices in film, I think.
Yeah, like it's one of those where other people around the world knew.
Yeah.
It's so distinct. It's such an amazing, iconic moment, a character, I mean. And looking at it from there, because of how the screen time of Darth Vader in the original trilogy wasn't that much.
It's true.
Very little, but had a lot of impact overall in this whole universe.
A big reason why the character worked was the voice. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't see his emotions on his face.
No.
It's the voice. The voice is everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of it from Star Wars came from the sound design, the voices, the acting, performances. It all beautifully came together, and James Earl Jones was a big part of it. A fun fact, too, he never got credited as Darth Vader until the special editions came out.
Right.
Yeah, and the reason was because he said he wasn't part of the cast.
Yeah.
He never interacted with Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, nobody on that set.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is he recorded his dialogue in most likely a day.
Yeah, he said it took him like a few hours for the first Star Wars film, got paid, I don't know how much, but it was like, it was little. It's like, he didn't care.
Yeah, but it's like
Did
a
his
small
job.
film from this guy named George Lucas that we don't really know. He did American Graffiti. You know?
Yeah, no, exactly. He wanted Orson Welles to voice Darth Vader, but he realized that he was so big at the time, popular, so they found James Earl Jones. But before getting into the rest of his filmography, I think it's interesting to like go into his childhood and like his background.
His early life, yeah. So
Yeah.
he was born in Mississippi in 1931, and he struggled with a big stutter as a child, which is so crazy because
Yeah.
like, a guy who's like so known for his voice doing Vader and in Lion King as well, his voice
Right.
working that. So yeah, for him to have a stutter as a kid and overcame it to pursue acting, like practiced
It's
getting rid of that and wanted to be an actor so bad that he's like, I need to overcome this stutter. I mean, that's very telling about his work ethic and like how he was such a a real working actor.
absolutely. No, for sure.
Yeah, he credits his high school teacher with helping him develop his voice, which I thought was an interesting fact.
Yeah.
And his father, Robert Earl Jones, was also an actor, influencing his early theater career.
Do you know what movie he was in? Robert Earl Jones?
I don't.
He was in this little film called The Sting, starring Robert Redford and Paul Newman.
Okay, yeah.
He plays Robert Redford's right-hand man and helping him scam people.
Is that like the biggest film that he did?
I think so. That's the one I remember because I saw the credits of The Sting. I was watching. I was like, great movie. And I was like, wait, Robert Earl Jones. I wonder if he's... No fucking way.
Yeah.
It's James Earl Jones' dad. Yeah, he's a great character actor. He worked a lot back in the day, 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Yeah.
And kind of slowed down as he got older. But yeah, I really like the fact that he had a family member that was also in theater, that was an actor. And
Yeah, and he had a lot of his early acting was mostly in the theater.
Yeah.
And he did The Great White Hope in 1967, which he got a Tony Award for, and an
Amazing.
Oscar nomination for the film adaptation as well.
Hell yeah, man.
His first on-screen performance is Doctor Strangelove.
A Kubrick film.
That's right.
Man,
Destined
that's-
for greatness.
That's
know?
amazing. I saw the clip. I haven't watched Doctor Strangelove in a while, and it's a very it deals with a lot going on during the Cold War and stuff.
Yeah.
But his role in it is amazing because you don't even like. This is an early James Earl Jones performance, but you hear that voice coming from him, and he's one of the pilots, and he's as small of a role as it was, it caught people's attention.
He looks so young in that movie.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable
Oh
to
my
see him
gosh.
like that.
A movie like that, man, like a Kubrick film. Imagine your first ever role was in a Kubrick film. I was like, damn. But no, he did a really good job, and a lot of people noticed that because he
Yeah.
worked a lot in various other films during that time. But
He's been in over 100 films in his career.
wow, 100 films. I mean, like, given his like range, like I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
He's a really good, not only a great actor, a great character actor, a great theater actor. I remember seeing a YouTube clip of him performing in Fences. Did you ever see that movie? Did you ever
No.
see that play? I just saw clips of it, and he plays the father in that, and he has such a commanding performance
Yeah.
as the authority figure of this child. of his
Imagine
son.
seeing James Earl Jones doing a play, man. Like he would just take over the stage. That voice projecting in a theater.
Even like in his later age, he had the energy that like I was like, that's amazing. That's fucking amazing. I think one of the videos I also saw from him was him reciting Shakespeare when he was like 87, 88 years old. I'm like, wow, he still got it.
Yeah.
He still got it.
Such a versatile actor.
Absolutely, because the thing about it too is a lot of actors get typecast.
Yeah.
And a lot of James Earl Jones roles, he could have fallen into that. He could have been just like the narrator of everything.
He certainly could have,
Because
yeah.
Orson Welles suffered from that in his later years. He was trying to make money and get his films funded. So he did commercials. He did commercials for everything, narrated everything. But with James Earl Jones, he was able to play hero roles and villain roles, commanding roles, father figures.
Yeah.
People who were like guiding the main character, helping them out. And he was able to do all of that from various movies, from different characters, and that's what I love about him. And he did it so well. It wasn't just the same performance. His villain role in Conan the Barbarian is nothing like Darth Vader.
Yeah. No, it's not.
Nope.
That's true, Conan. I actually forgot about that one. I didn't even write it down.
Yeah. I think about that one. I'm like, man, he was a good villain in that too.
Yeah.
It was, and you got to see his face in that one.
right.
Darth Vader, it was purely voice, but in that one, he had this commanding performance. Every time he was like looking at the screen, he was like this. I don't know if he was like a wizard or something, but he was able to transform into a snake, basically like a demon for Conan to destroy. And his voice, the way he was describing his power, is like, I get to manipulate these people. They fall to their death on my command. They look at me. That's true power. And the way he says it, obviously, neither of us have James Earl Jones's voice. So
No.
when we say these lines, they're not going to come close.
They hit different coming out of his mouth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that was like one of the examples I remember seeing from him. I'm like, damn, like that was a really good one.
So like when I was a kid, I remember him from, well, obviously like the voice of Lion King, but I didn't.
Of
When I was a
course.
kid, I didn't connect James Earl Jones to that.
Same, yeah.
I remember him from Sandlot.
Oh yeah, a lot of people did. I remember seeing the Sandlot a
Yeah,
lot.
I remember him from Sandlot, and I remember him as from Coming to America because I had seen that as a kid
course.
a few times. Which is such a good performance. Like
My son
I
works.
was just gonna say that's the best line.
What?
That's the best delivery of that whole movie. The way he just looks over, he's like, "My son works."
It's so good the way he plays that role. And again, we're going into similar roles. He played Mufasa in The Lion King, his father role. Both are father figure roles. Both are handled completely differently, and he does it perfectly in both.
I completely agree.
Like, and that's the thing too, people forget is like there is that issue with being typecast a lot. A lot of actors, like, I always think of actors who broke out of that, like Keith David, because he plays a lot of like authority figures too because of his commanding voice.
Yeah.
But you see him play a lot of good guy roles, bad guy roles, and all that stuff. And I always think like people in that position, I wonder if they look at older actors like that, like James Earl Jones, and it's just like, well, it's like if he can do it, I can do it. I just got to pick different roles and take a
Yeah.
chance sometimes.
Because that, like, having that presence and that commanding voice could be a blessing and a curse in film.
Yeah.
For sure. It's all about how you do it and the roles that you take, because you could easily be typecast and only known for that.
Playing the same role over and over and over. I'm glad. I know like Disney now is like been throwing Star Wars at everybody's TV screen for the last 10, 12 years. But I'm glad James Earl Jones has restraint for that. Maybe due to the fact that he was much older when this happened.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he retired that role when he did. He retired acting like 2 years before he passed away,
right.
which I think is very respectful because God, man, they could have just had Darth Vader in every fucking thing, but I'm glad they are moving away from that.
Yeah.
There's different people who can play that role, or you retire that character entirely and move on to other things within the universe and other stories.
I think the reality is they're probably going to use AI
Don't
going
fucking
forward.
say that. Ugh.
Because I think for the Kenobi show,
Did they do that?
they got him to record the lines, but
Yeah.
they enhanced it with AI to make it sound like more Vader.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the move.
Did they
going
do the
forward.
same thing for the Lion King live action? It's not live action, but you know what I mean? The new Lion King, did they do the same shit?
I don't think they did that.
Okay. Because another thing, too, a lot of people are realizing, and this will always happen to voice actors, they get old, so you can't have the same type of voice as you did 30 to 40 years ago. We've seen this
100%.
from The Simpsons. You
Yeah.
hear Homer. Homer doesn't sound like season 8 Homer. He
No.
sounds like a much older version.
Exactly.
So when you see shit from Star Wars now, or like a couple years ago when James Earl was still voicing and the new Lion King, it's like he doesn't sound the same. I feel like, and the producers and everything don't care because it's like, well, you know, James Earl
It's the
Jones,
guy, it's the
and
guy.
it's still
Yeah.
a good voice. It's
Of
just that
course.
I don't know if they know. I don't know if
Yeah.
they're just doing it because, well, we have to. And it's like, that's the part that I'm a little, you can retire these voices sometimes.
Yeah.
But
I also remember him as a kid from Field of Dreams.
Oh, of course.
I saw Field of Dreams quite a few times as a kid, and I remember his role. Field of Dreams is such a weird ass movie.
it is very weird. But everyone knows it. Everyone knows the infamous line. It's like, if you build it, they will come.
They will come, and the cast is so weird too. Like
Ray Liotta.
a baseball movie with Ray Liotta.
Yep.
James Earl Jones. I mean, Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner.
Makes perfect sense because he's in every baseball movie
Yep.
ever.
He's like one of the faces of America, dude.
Right.
Like, holy shit.
But that's a real weird movie that everybody knows and is kind of loved by everyone, even though it is so weird.
It is weird. Ray Liotta talks about it. Also, rest in peace to him.
Yeah.
But he asked, like, did you ever talk about Field of Dreams? And Ray Liotta's like, I've never seen the film. He's
Really?
like, what? He's like, I don't want to. He's like, why not? He's like, I don't know. I didn't.
You think Ray Liotta died without watching Field of Dreams?
Oh, probably. He saw Goodfellas, though. He's like, no, that movie fucking rocks.
Yeah,
But,
there's
like,
no way he didn't watch it.
Yeah, he did,
But
but
dying without seeing Field of Dreams is crazy.
I don't know. Maybe it's a thing for actors. Like,
Yeah, I guess maybe it's hard to watch yourself, but
because like in James Earl Jones's case, I feel like he's like really humble. Like if you watch
Yeah,
interviews
he
of him,
is, he
it's
is.
like this guy is in so many of the biggest movies and has such an iconic voice. He could do literally like so much, and
Yeah.
that ego can get to people sometimes. And for him, it's just like, no, you know, I was Darth Vader, but you know, George was the one that did it, and he directed me.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't even know about the "I am your father," so I was like, what the fuck? All right, I guess I'll say this. Like, that's what his experience was when the reveal happened. And he doesn't make it like this grandiose thing. It's just that he worked with great people and they worked with him and he had a great time on them.
yeah, I
That's-
really respect that. He loves to give people credit and act like he was just a piece of it, but that iconic voice, you can't find that anywhere.
Oh, yeah. Another one, too. A lot of people might not know, but I think it's interesting because he got to work with Harrison Ford on some of these. The Jack Ryan films.
Yeah.
He did Hunt for Red October, which was with Baldwin, and then Clear and Present Danger, and what was the other one? Patriot Games.
I think the only one I saw was Hunt for Red October.
Okay, yeah. But he was in that one too. He was an authority figure. He was the what was it? The captain.
Yeah.
He was the guy in charge of everything, and of obviously many people in his case played that role, but it was different. Just like the baseball film with Sandlot, his role in Sandlot is different from Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
And a lot of people forget about that. It's just like, oh man, is it just the same thing? No, because of the tone, because of the direction, and because of his performance and him understanding who these characters are.
Yeah.
From experience, from seeing other like types of work and doing his research and dedication and whatnot. So full on respect for that. But I always think of like in Clear and Present Danger, this film is like 30 years old. I don't fucking care. But his character dies. And he has this great speech in the hospital to Harrison Ford. And it's kind of like you took an oath. And it's like not just to like the government, but to me and the people that you're saving and
Yeah.
stuff. And he's saying his like last breath type of thing to Harrison Ford. And it's like, man, like
Hits.
it hits so
The
hard.
gravity
man,
of that scene with his delivery.
with
right?
his delivery. And it's such a amazing thing. Again, like might not be on par with the scope of what Star Wars and Lion King have been, but man, he still got it. Whether it's a big role, small role from him, big movie, small movie.
Did you see Coming to America too?
Oh
Is
yeah.
Is he in that?
He is. He's in that one. I think that's like one of his last films that he did on screen.
That's what it's, yeah.
He was fine.
He was
His
just,
character dies in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like the transition period where Eddie Murphy is kind of like becoming the James Earl Jones role and him, you know, teaching his kids and everything like that. It's a bad movie.
Yeah,
it's a really fucking bad movie.
I skipped that one. I really.
Somebody reviewed it the best. It's basically like a $200 million Funny or Die skit.
Really?
It's bad. It looks bad. It's like, it doesn't, because like Coming to America, we'll go, you know what, fuck it. Coming to America is a beautiful looking movie.
Yeah.
The way it
Oh,
showcases New York.
I completely
and,
agree.
Oh my, it's shot on film. It's beautifully done. I just love that movie and how it looks and the story and performances. Everything's great
The
about
style
it.
of that movie's great. The apartment, like everything. Even the McDowell's, like the
Yes.
the style of it is so good.
Oh my God. So like comparing it to like the sequel, which looks like a fucking commercial, dude. It's so ugly. I'm like, wow. Like everything looks like a soundstage.
Right.
Like I swear, I don't think they shot once in New York in that movie. It looks so fake, and there's so many cameos in it that I don't give a fuck about. And like James Earl Jones, he's great, but he's in it for like 2 minutes. Cause there's like 50,000 characters in the movie. And
That's such a shame.
yeah, don't watch Coming to America. I do like the clever naming of it, though. I mean, Coming to
Yeah.
America.
Yeah. That's classic.
But aside from that, I want to talk about his role as Mufasa in The Lion King, the real Lion King, the
Yeah.
1994 one,
Thank you.
guys. He was around 62, 63 years old when he did this. He was, I think, one of the older actors in the cast. And he has, in my opinion, it's the best voice performance, on par, if not better, slightly better than Jeremy Irons as Scar.
Yeah.
Because like those two are like really at it.
Yeah,
When it comes to voice acting
I-
in the movie.
I agree, but I think Mufasa is so important in making you feel the emotion that movie makes you feel,
Yeah.
and I think it's more important
Yeah.
because that story, that father and son story, is the most important part of it.
It's so beautiful when he's teaching Simba all of his lessons and stuff, and it's like everything the light touches and
Yeah.
disobeying, and like you got to be like respectful. You can't be too egotistical when you become the king and stuff. And again, I'm like describing what he says, but you just watch the fucking movie because he does it so
Yeah.
well, and you get so much emotion, dude. I choke up whenever he sees him as a ghost, as a spirit. When Simba
Yeah.
does, dude, like it's a movie for kids, but it's a movie for everyone. That's the true
It's a
answer.
movie for everyone at every age.
I just, when I first saw it as a kid, Nathan, I remember this because I was so shocked they actually did it.
Right?
I didn't know. I didn't know about King Lear and all that shit. Or the
Yeah.
fucking Shakespeare, like Hamlet. I didn't know. As a
course.
kid, you're thinking, oh, Mufasa, he's going to save the day with his son. It's like, no.
That's the thing. Every movie I'd watched up until that point, they figure it out.
Yep.
You know what? They figure it out, and there's danger for a short amount of time.
Yep.
But it's a happy days at the end. You know, that was the formula for every movie I'd seen as a kid. Yep. And then I watched Lion King, and it opened it opened up a whole new world. Truly,
it's so good. It's the way it's done. It's so dramatic. It's so powerful. And his yell, man, like the part where it's like, you know, brother, help me. I'm like, oh man, he's giving it his all. Oh man, and he just does it so well.
Have you seen the videos of like dogs watching Lion King?
Oh,
and like the movie is so well done that the dog understands the danger. Like a dog watching this movie understands the danger. The dog, like I saw a video of like the dog like crying during that saddest moment. Like that is storytelling at the highest level if a dog can understand it.
I fully agree. That's amazing. I gotta check out that video. Yeah. But like, man, I always think about that too. It's like it's so powerful that it goes beyond just our perception. You know, as people, a dog can feel this emotion and really resonate with it.
And that's fucking art at the highest level.
I love that. I fucking love that. And you know what? That's the thing about Lion King is that it is one of the best, if not the best animated film of all time. If somebody said it was the best animated film, I'd be like, yeah.
I would never fight anybody who said that's their favorite animated film of all time.
And a lot of that comes down to the voice acting, and the best voice actor in that film was James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
So
Scar's second for sure.
Scar's, yeah, definitely second.
What a role.
It makes you think about like what Disney has tried to recapture from those movies. Not just Lion King, but also Star Wars, and trying to bring actors back, trying to recreate it. And even with his older age, as time goes on, I feel like James Earl Jones knew how much time and range he had with these things. Yeah. And was being very respectful with it.
Right. I think if he wanted to, he could have been a bigger star.
Yeah.
By leaning into these, like, you know, this typecast that he's good at. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like these certain roles that you know he's going to knock out of the park based on his voice alone or based on previous roles. Yep. He was always doing different stuff. And I think if he wanted to be the biggest actor or if he wanted to be bigger, I think he had those opportunities for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I'm sure they came with big paychecks too. Yeah. But he just doesn't seem like the kind of guy who was motivated by money.
He has a lot of fame. Yeah, exactly. He has a lot of theater experience, and there were times where he turned down big movie roles to just pursue his theater acting, because that's where his heart really came down to. And a lot of actors do that. There's two types of actors. There's the ones that just solely do film, like I'm doing it for the money and stuff, and I'm trying to get some fame. And then there's the ones where it's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to spend 5 months of my life doing this theater play.
Yeah.
And James Earl Jones was one of those people. And he took a lot of time, patience, and you know what sucks about it too when it comes to like theater actors is that we can't really see their whole performance from it.
I know.
It's all live. You're going to have to spend your entire time in this room, in this setting, watching it. And that's the beauty of theater. But as the years go on, you won't be able to see their earlier performances because of that.
You only hear about these legendary portrayals of Shakespeare.
Yeah, man.
It will never be recreated, right?
Yeah. Did you mention Othello too? He did Othello?
Yeah, that's man. I skipped
like,
over that, but he did Othello in 1964, yeah. And that was like one of his really big roles that made him like a prominent theater guy and ultimately got him Great White Hope later.
Yeah, man. Imagine being in that theater, man. When that happened. 1964, like people forget, like in the 60s, there were so many theater actors like him, Gene Wilder and stuff. Yeah. And it's like, you didn't know. And then you see them in the movies and you're like, holy fuck, I saw them like 10 years ago. Yeah.
And that's kind of a lost thing, right? That era had so many more actors that started in theater, got big there, then transitioned into film.
Yeah.
Where that's a much less common thing now.
It is very less common due to the fact that we have this thing called the streaming services now, and now they're picking up actors from like Netflix and stuff and putting them into the big budget movies. Right. It's not like theater anymore where there would be casting directors being like, oh, they're good for a theater. They only really do that if it's a fucking musical.
Yeah,
because they're like, oh, they're good. They can sing.
Let's
do this. Let's bring them in the next live action Disney movie, which sucks because like if that's the only reason you're doing it, you gotta put more effort into seeing other dramatic roles. Maybe they don't need to sing, but you realize they have such a powerful voice. It's like, oh, James Earl Jones, that's a very iconic voice. I wonder what he could do.
Yeah.
And literally, a casting director says that to themselves, and that's how you get a career like this.
That's
you
how you
give
get
them the
100.
opportunity.
That's how you get 100 films.
Exactly. And I remember seeing, after James Earl Jones passed away, I went on a binge of like a lot of videos, interviews from him. And there was this one that was like a compilation of his like best interviews,
Yeah.
the best work and stuff. And some of it was comedic, some of it was inspirational. And the inspirational stuff was kind of like going into acting and just careers in general. It's like you either know or you don't. And he's like, I tell that to every up and coming actor. And a lot of them are like, what do you mean by that? It's like, you either know or you don't. You either go into this knowing that this, and this will happen. A lot of it bad, some of it good. And you think to yourself, am I worth this pursuit?
Mm-hmm.
And if all that you put into your head is considered and the answer is yes, that's when you fucking know. And a lot of people can't take that in.
It's a beautiful way to look at it.
Because James Earl Jones said it himself. He's like my childhood was rough. It's not like I wasn't. It's like I wasn't like middle class or anything like that. Like there were days where it was fucking tough.
Yeah.
And you put all of that into perspective, and then you go into what am I capable of as a performer. Then you say yes. Then that's when your career will go. It's a very inspirational thought process because he's basically saying like, hey, maybe this isn't your career. And that is completely fine.
And that's fine. Yeah.
You're not, if you have this egotistical mindset, you're always going to think, I'm the best of this. I am the best of this. And when it doesn't happen, not only are you ruining it, you're ruining yourself, mentally speaking, but you're ruining the people around you when that happens.
Yeah.
And he was an advocate for that. He was an advocate for actors that were in the industry that weren't getting paid as much, whether it was because of culturally or like,
Yeah.
And I love that he brought it up within his interviews because it could have obviously been, oh, let's talk about Star Wars. Like, well, let's talk about the fact that these specific actors are just as good, but they're not getting that much attention for some reason.
Always trying to lift up the people around them.
Yeah.
Always.
And a lot of actors saw that too. Like I saw a lot of great comments from people like Denzel. Denzel had a great one where it's like, if he wasn't there, he's like, I don't know where my career would be.
Yeah.
And it's like, that shit's beautiful, man. You know, he's one of the, he recently passed away. He was one of the last actors during the 60s, 50s era that really had that powerful inspiration from the younger actors, which is weird to say that I'm saying younger actors because they're older now. They're in their 60s now, you know?
Exactly.
And as time goes on, generations, we're going to be looking at the ones that had this beautiful attitude.
Yeah.
So
I want to highlight a little bit of a niche James Earl Jones performance. Maybe you have one too that we could give to the audience.
Ooh.
So a lesser known one, and then we'll sign off. So my pick is The Greatest, 1977. I've always been obsessed with Muhammad Ali. This is a movie a biopic about Muhammad Ali's life that he stars in himself. It's a really weird movie. It's kind of bad, but he plays Malcolm X in this film.
no way.
Yeah, James Earl Jones plays Malcolm X in this film, and that's a really, really cool role for him. A deep cut that I think is worth checking out.
Oh, this is a tough one. One that I've seen or one that's on his radar? Because you know what? Fuck it. He was one of the people presenting a short in Fantasia 2000. If you haven't seen Fantasia 2000, first off, watch both of them. They're beautifully animated films that showcases Disney's range within that beautiful storytelling, and he was one of the presenters.
Yeah.
So I'll give that one. Yeah,
There's our picks.
I saw that.
With that being said, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe to your boys. It means the world to us. And rest in peace, the great James Earl Jones.
Rest in peace.
Take care. Brush your hair.
Peace.